My name is Beining, and this is my artifact box presentation. First, I wanted to show you my box. I have got pictures of different artifacts that they have found when they've excavated the different area, the Indus Valley area. The Indus Valley is along the banks, or the Indus Valley civilization was created along the banks of the Indus River. The Indus River is one of the longest rivers in the world. It starts in Tibet and flows about 2,000 miles through India and Pakistan to the Arabian Sea. The river provides a lot of water to the surrounding areas, which makes it ideal for civilizations, especially those earlier civilizations. The first item in my box is a map. And as you can see, there is a shaded area right here. And this represents the area that was known as the Indus Valley civilization. The labeled dots are just some of the cities that have been unearthed today. The first of the Indus Valley cities to be unearthed was Harappa, and that was in the 1920s. That is right here. So actually sometimes people refer to the Indus Valley civilization as the Harappan civilization or the Harappan people. There are three phases to the Indus Valley civilization. The first phase excuse me, is the early Harappan phase, and it was during this time that trade was first established. The next phase was known as the mature Harappan phase. And this is where the civilizations became more urban, and also when irrigation was introduced. The final phase was known as the late Harappan phase, and it was during this time that we saw a decline in the cities, that a lot of them started to become abandoned. Archaeologists think that this is because of a change in climate. It got much cooler and drier in the area, so people moved on. In the classroom for an activity, I would have students look at the landforms in this area and that are close to the area, especially the Indus River, but not only the Indus River, other landforms as well. And I would have them discuss the influences that these landforms have on the people. They could journal their thoughts about it, and then discuss them in a whole group or even individual groups, and then come back together and discuss. But this would really tie in well with the geography theme of human and environment interaction. The next item in my box is a woven rug. Now, it's not in my box because it is quite large, but it's in my box. The woven rug is to represent woven textiles that originated in the Indus Valley civilization. During the excavations, archaeologists have established that the people from this time used spindles to weave a variety of items. The people of that time were very inventive, especially with the next item I have in my box, which I will get to later. But in the classroom, I would have students break up into groups, and each group I would give items that they could trade. And then I would have them research these items in area civilizations that they could trade with. And I would expect them to present back to me either in a PowerPoint or even just a formal presentation in front of the classroom, how they would go about trading, what would be a fair trade, who would they trade with, and items like that. This would go really well with the geography theme movements, since people have to travel great distances sometimes in order to trade. The next item in my box is a tractor and a wagon. And I put this in here to represent the toys that a lot of the archaeologists have found when they've unearthed these cities. Much like today, toys were created for entertainment of the children. Archaeologists have found many different toys. They found whistles shaped like birds, monkeys that can slide down strings, and as I showed in my handout, a cart. A lot of times they created carts out of clay, and the cart that I found was pulled by oxen and actually had little clay pots in it. So they can get really elaborate with their toys, or they can get pretty simple with their toys, just like we can. In class, I would have the students create their own toys or games. I would expect the students to emphasize their time period, this time period. I want them to know that, realize the connections between, they created things that were important to them, the Indus Valley people created things that were important to them back in the day, and I would expect them to do the same. Create toys that are important to them, or games that represent this time period. And then they could play with the toys in class, or they could play the game, and I just think it would be a good representation of society today for the kids. I've also included in my artifact box this vase, because it is similar in shape as the alabaster vessel that I have on my handout. A lot of the pottery created during this time was bright red or dark red, and very sturdy, well-baked. Generally, the pottery was plain, but some were painted. The plain ones were usually made from red clay. The painted pottery was usually red or black. Many times the people used geometric patterns, such as circles, squares, and triangles. They also used animals such as birds, snakes, or fish to decorate the pottery. In the classroom, I would have the students think of an item that they use now that is very important to them, and that I would expect them to pick items that are beautiful as well as functional, because the vase is beautiful, or the vessel is beautiful as well as functional. And then I would have them maybe write a persuasive essay to try to persuade their classmates to think that their item is the best as well, or that their item is one of the most important parts of today's society. And my final item in my artifact box is a mold for jewelry. Now, I created this, but on my handout, I have a picture of an actual mold for jewelry. The area that is known as Indus Valley had a lot of precious metals and precious stones in the land. So since this was a merchant-oriented civilization, they created jewelry, mostly necklaces and bracelets. They did have other forms of jewelry, but they traded these. And even in a recent dig in Iran, they discovered some Indus Valley jewelry, which means even back then, trade reached many faraway lands, that they could travel great distances in order to get items that they really wanted or needed. For an activity in class, I would have students research what metals and stones they might find in this land, and then also research ways that these people would have had to excavate the stones and metals from the land, and just so the students could see just how hard some of these people had to work back then. This could also relate to the geography theme, human and environment interactions. But I think that's it for my artifact box, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.